You ever check the change you toss in that old kitchen drawer or the coins rattling around your car's cup holder? Most of us don't think twice about pennies. But what if I told you one of them could be worth over $1 million? That's right. One single penny from 1982. No mint mark. No special case. Just sitting there quietly, a ticking treasure waiting to be found. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery and value behind the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. Its market value has climbed as high as $1.2 million. Yes, million with an M. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this penny is so rare, and how your everyday pocket change might be your ticket to financial freedom. But before we dig into what makes this coin so special, let me take you back to a moment that changed everything for me. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out his old garage. You know the kind: stacked boxes, rusted tools, forgotten memories. I found an old coffee tin labeled penny jar. Thought nothing of it. But my dad chuckled and said, "Some of those are from the 70s and 80s. You never know what they're worth." That little tin started my obsession. And that obsession uncovered one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history, the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Since then, I've met collectors, coin dealers, even a guy who retired early because of one tiny copper coin. So now, let's peel back the layers and understand how one year, one design change, and one small omission turned an ordinary penny into $1 million legend. 1982 was a strange year for the U.S. Mint. It was a transitional year and one of the most complicated in coinage history. Up until that point, pennies were mostly made of 95% copper. But rising copper prices were making it more expensive to produce a penny than its actual face value. So the mint decided to switch to a cheaper composition, copper-plated zinc. Now here's where it gets interesting. In 1982, both copper and zinc pennies were struck. And not only that, but there were 7 different variations made that year. Different weights. Different compositions. Some with mint marks. Some without. It's one of the few years where you'll find coins made from 2 entirely different metals. That's already unique. But it's the no mint mark 1982 small date copper penny that flips the game. Only one of these has been verified. That's right, only a single authentic 1982 no mint mark copper small date penny is known to exist, just one. Imagine being the person who finds the second. It all comes down to 3 details: the date style, the composition, and the missing mint mark. First, the date. In 1982, the mint used 2 different styles for the number 2, a small date and a large date. The small date has a delicate, more compact look, especially noticeable in the 2 and 8. Look closely, this matters more than you think. Second, the metal. You need the coin to be copper, not zinc. And here's how you test that at home. Drop the coin gently on a wooden surface. If it sounds high-pitched and tinny, it's zinc. If it gives a low, solid ringing, chances are it's copper. And finally, the mint mark. Or rather, the lack of it. If your 1982 penny has no tiny DRS below the year, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Most of those were zinc. But if yours is copper, small date, and no mint mark, congratulations. You may be holding a coin worth $1.20 million, because verifying its authenticity is no walk in the park. In fact, even professional coin graders have been fooled. Let's explore why. Sell your coin for its true value. You need proof, professional grading from trusted organizations like PCGS or NGC. This isn't something you take to your local pawn shop. We're talking serious collectors, national auctions, and private sales involving top-level experts with years of experience. You'll need to weigh the coin on a digital scale that can read to 2 decimal places. A copper penny from 1982 should weigh about 3.11 grams. Zinc pennies? Around 2.5 grams. Even a slight variation can tip you off. Once you've got that weight and that small date style, then it's time to submit it for grading. If it passes, you've just stepped into a new tax bracket. Let's trace its rise. Back in the early 2000s, people dismissed the 1982 pennies as too common. But around 2016, a verified small-date copper penny with no mint mark surfaced, authenticated by a professional grading company. It sold for nearly $18,000. Fast forward a few years. More collectors start realizing how rare this variant is. And with only one confirmed, its status exploded. A private collector offered $1.2 million to acquire it, cementing it as one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents. The combination of rarity, a transitional mint year, and the mystery behind how it was even produced has driven its price to astronomical heights. But there's something even crazier. Some experts believe there may be more of these million-dollar coins out there, hiding in drawers, jars, maybe even inside your own home. Collectors around the country have taken up the search. Stories are popping up everywhere. A guy in Ohio found one inside an inherited coin collection. A woman in Florida went through her late husband's coin stash and discovered a rare variant that netted her 5 figures. People are now buying rolls of 1982 pennies off eBay and Craigslist just for a chance to find that one missing treasure. Coin roll hunters, as they're called, comb through hundreds, even thousands of pennies looking for that perfect storm of features. You don't need a whole collection. Just one coin. One right penny. That's all it takes. But here's where things get wild. Some believe the government doesn't even know how this coin was made. Was it a mistake? Was it intentional? Or is it a ghost from a forgotten batch? Those coin experts have long speculated about how this penny came to exist. The theory goes that during the transition from copper to zinc, a leftover copper planchet accidentally made its way into the striking chamber. Others argue it could have been an experimental run that somehow leaked into general circulation. Whatever the truth is, the U.S. Mint has never officially confirmed its origin, which adds even more intrigue and value to the find. With only one known, and potentially more hiding in plain sight, this coin has become a modern American legend. So next time you're sorting change, flipping through a jar, or just cleaning out your glove compartment, take a moment. Look at those pennies. Really looks. Check the date. Look for that no mint mark. Test the sound. Weigh the coin, because somewhere out there, someone's going to find the second 1982 no mint mark small date copper Lincoln penny. It might be tomorrow. It might be next year. But someone's going to hold $1 million in their hand, and not even realize it until it's too late. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds. Imagine this for a moment. You're rummaging through your old coin jar, just looking for a quarter to get your morning coffee. But instead of 25 cents, you find a penny, a 1963 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark. You think nothing of it. It's just a penny, right? But that tiny copper coin could be worth $1.3 million, yes. You heard me right. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1963 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny, a coin that's taken the numismatic world by storm. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why collectors are paying millions, and how one penny can completely change your life. Because in the second half of this video, I'll reveal the exact details that separate a common 1963 penny from a multi-million-dollar coin. Miss that, and you might just pass over a small fortune sitting in your pocket. The Lincoln cent is no stranger to American hands. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, this was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. And not just anyone, but one of the most iconic presidents in American history. Fast forward to 1959. The reverse design is changed from the wheat ears to the now familiar Lincoln Memorial, marking Lincoln's 150th birthday. From that point, we entered what's known as the Lincoln Memorial Series, and the 1963 penny was part of that design lineage. Millions were minted. Pennies were everywhere. They jingled in lunchboxes, jukeboxes, and grocery store counters. The answer lies in a mix of rarity, condition, errors, and history. You see, coins minted in Philadelphia, historically, don't carry a mint mark. So when we say a 1963 no mint mark penny, we're really referring to a Philadelphia minted coin. That by itself isn't rare. But here's the kicker: what's inside that coin, how it's printed, and the condition it's in, that's where the value hides. There's a particular variation of this penny that collectors are going crazy over. Not just any Philadelphia penny, but one that was struck with such precision, clarity, and in such pristine condition that it stands out as nearly flawless. We're talking about something that would be rated MS-68 or higher on the coin grading scale. Think about that for a second. Out of the over 750 million 1963 pennies minted, only a handful have survived in museum-grade quality. That's like winning the lottery with a penny. Let's dig into that condition. Coin grading is a science, and it can mean the difference between 1 cent and $1.3 million. The Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, is the standard. If your 1963 penny is dull, scratched, or corroded, it won't fetch much. But if it has full red luster, sharp strikes, no contact marks, and is preserved like the day it was minted, then my friend, you're holding gold. Or more accurately, copper gold. There's a record-breaking 1963 penny that was graded MS68 red by PCGS, the leading coin grading authority. It sold at auction for hundreds of thousands, and some are speculating that the best of the best could break the $1 million ceiling, and that's where the $1.3 million valuation comes from, not just the market, but potential future appreciation as collectors fight over the last perfect survivors. But that's not all, here's where things get really interesting. Some of these 1963 pennies have what's called mint errors, freak accidents at the mint that created rare anomalies, double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, die cracks. These mistakes turn ordinary coins into sought-after rarities. There's a rumor, confirmed by a few auction listings and private collectors, that a small batch of 1963 no-mint mark pennies were accidentally struck using an older wheat reverse die. That's right, a Lincoln Memorial penny with the wrong back. If you find that unicorn, you could be looking at a payday well beyond $1.30 million. We'll get into how to spot those errors right after this next part. The answer might surprise you. Start with old jars, shoe boxes, coffee tins. Anywhere you or your parents may have stashed spare change in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Especially if it's been untouched for decades. A 1963 date, no mint mark under the date, especially Lincoln's beard and the steps of the memorial, and if you're really lucky, signs of an error, doubled letters, misalignment, or unusual reverse design. Use a magnifying glass. Seriously. Those tiny imperfections are the difference between 10 cents and 10 zeros. Now, you may be wondering, don't clean it. Never scrub or polish a coin. That can destroy its value instantly. Next, get it evaluated by a professional grading service, either PCGS or NGC. These are the gold standards in the coin world. They'll inspect it, grade it, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder. That's your passport to the $1 Million Club. Once graded, you can list it at auctions like Heritage or Stacksbowers, or go through a private dealer, and yes, there are collectors and investors waiting to snap it up. Rare coins are booming, and values are only going higher. Here's something most people don't realize. With inflation and the rise of alternative assets, coins have become a new form of investment. People are pouring money into rare coins like never before. A once forgotten penny in your drawer could now be worth more than a luxury car or beachfront property, and as time passes, perfect 1963 pennies are only going to get rarer. That's why experts say we're just seeing the beginning of this coin's explosion in value. The next time you pick up a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't toss it in a fountain. Don't slide it across the counter. Minted over 60 years ago, with no mint mark, just sitting in your pocket, could be your ticket to financial freedom. And now, you know exactly how to find it. So hit that like button if you learned something new, subscribe if you want more coin hunting secrets, and share this video with someone who's got a jar full of old change sitting in their garage. You might just change their life or your own. Hey there, fellas. Do you ever find yourself digging through that old coffee can full of change in the garage? Maybe while cleaning out the drawer that's been collecting dust since Clinton's first term? Well, what if I told you that sitting quietly in your pile of pennies could be a small copper coin worth over $1.4 million? Yes, you heard me right. 1 penny. 1 cent worth more than a Lamborghini, a beach house, or a lifetime supply of steak and bourbon. It's the 1994 no-mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny, and today, we're diving deep into how this ordinary-looking coin turned out to be one of the most surprising million-dollar stories in coin collecting history. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, not only will you know exactly what makes this penny so rare and valuable, you'll also learn how to check if your coin is the real deal. And let me tell you, it's a journey full of twists, hidden details, and some very rich surprises. Let's rewind the clock back to 1994. The world was changing fast. Bill Clinton was in the White House, O.J. Simpson was on TV for all the wrong reasons, and gas cost just $1 a gallon. Meanwhile, in the world of coins, the U.S. Mint continued business as usual, pumping out millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most coins minted in Philadelphia have no mint mark, which makes them pretty standard. But what sets this particular 1994 penny apart isn't just the lack of a mint mark. It's a strange combination of errors and conditions that make it an extremely rare find. And the kicker? It looks like just another penny until you look a little closer. So, what exactly makes this penny so valuable? Well, get ready. Because once we get into the details, you're going to want to grab a magnifying glass and start checking every jar and piggy bank you've got at first glance. The 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny seems like any other. But under scrutiny, collectors have discovered specific rare varieties, especially one with a misstrike that gives it a bold double die error. That means certain parts of the design, Lincoln's face, the words "In God We Trust," or even "Liberty," appear to be printed twice, slightly offset. That subtle doubling, nearly invisible to the untrained eye, is one of the golden tickets in the coin world. Combine that with a clean strike, no signs of wear, and rich red copper luster, and you've got a penny that auction houses and private collectors will fight tooth and nail to. 1994 no mint mark penny with these traits was recently auctioned off at a staggering $1.4 million. And here's the thing. It didn't come from a museum. It came from a private owner who found it tucked away in a forgotten collection. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could there be another one hiding somewhere in your own house? But that's not all. There's another reason this coin is worth so much, and it goes beyond mint errors or copper purity. Stick with me. Rare coins often rise in value because of demand, but with the 1994 penny, the demand is almost fanatical. Why? Because many collectors are focused on finishing the Lincoln Memorial Cent series from 1959 to 2008. And as more collectors enter the hobby, competition for the rarest pieces intensifies. Everyone wants to be the guy with the coin. We've seen private collectors, hedge fund managers, and even celebrities drop 6 and 7 figures on rare coins. The coin market isn't just a hobby anymore. It's an investment game, and the 1994 no mint mark penny has become one of the hottest commodities in that space. And if you think this coin's moment has passed, think again. Prices are only going up. The last verified sale was $1.4 million. Who knows what the next one might go for? $2 million? Maybe more. Now let's get into how you can spot this penny, because it may already be in your possession. Here's the part you've been waiting for. How can you tell if your 1994 penny is the one? First, flip that penny and check for the mint mark. If it doesn't have a D or an S, that's a start. It means it was minted in Philadelphia. Second, grab a magnifying glass and look closely at Lincoln's profile, especially his eye, jawline, and ear. Then look at the inscriptions. "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" should be crisp. If there's any visible doubling, like a slight ghost image behind the letters, that could be your million-dollar clue. Third, check the color. The most valuable examples are rich red with a lustrous shine. We're talking full red copper, not brown or dull. If it's been handled or scratched, the value drops dramatically. And lastly, get it authenticated. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify if your penny is the rare variety. This part's crucial. You don't want to go shouting about your million-dollar find unless the pros have confirmed it. But hold up. What if your penny isn't perfect? Don't worry. Even some lower-grade 1994 no mint mark errors have sold for thousands. Not bad for a coin most folks ignore, but we're not done yet. There's another twist to this story you won't believe. Here's something a lot of people don't know. Not all 1994 pennies were created equal. While most were made from a copper-plated zinc core, a very small number were struck on leftover 95% copper planchets, those older, heavier coins used before 1982. When one of these copper planchet coins gets combined with a rare error, like a double die or off-center strike, you've got something even more valuable. These hybrid error coins are unicorns in the coin collecting world. Now imagine this: you've got a 1994 no mint mark penny that's a copper error, double die, full red, and untouched. You might not just be sitting on $1.4 million, you might be looking at the next coin to set a record at auction. And that leads us to the question every collector asks themselves: how many of these are out there, still hiding? Think about the drawers, jars, and boxes in your home. The old coin jar on your dresser. That toolbox your dad passed down. The cigar box of coins your grandfather swore had some good ones. Most people overlook pennies. They toss them in trays, leave them in cars, or ignore them at the bottom of shopping bags. But what if the next millionaire coin isn't in a museum? It's in your house, your change, your pocket. It's happened before. People have discovered life-changing coins in the most ordinary places. And as more rare coins get found and certified, the ones that remain become even more valuable. So before you give your spare change to the Coinstar machine, take a closer look. You could be one penny away from changing your entire life. So there you have it. The 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny, quiet, unassuming, yet worth up to $1.4 million. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just a guy who hasn't cleaned out his glove box in 10 years, this coin proves that hidden value is all around us. You just need to know where to look. If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins that could be sitting right under your nose. And in the comments below, tell me, what's the oldest or weirdest penny you've ever found? You ever check the change in your pocket and wonder if you might be holding a fortune? Imagine reaching down, pulling out a humble old penny, and discovering it's worth more than your car. Maybe even more than your house. That's not just a dream, it's a reality for a lucky few. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising treasures in the world of rare coins. The 1977 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. It looks like any regular penny. Tossed around. Forgotten in drawers. Passed through vending machines. But one of these unassuming coins is now worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Stay with me, because we're about to uncover what makes this penny so special, the secrets behind its rarity, and how to spot one that could change your life forever. Let's rewind to 1977. Gasoline was cheap. Elvis Presley had just left the building. And millions of Lincoln pennies were being minted in Philadelphia. But something strange happened. Most coins from Philadelphia in 1977 didn't carry a mint mark. That wasn't an error, it was normal. But within those millions of no mint mark pennies, there were a few different. They were struck on the wrong metal. Or had unusual features. Or survived in pristine, untouched condition, the kind of penny your grandpa might have set aside in a drawer and forgot about. And now, some of those are commanding 6 and even 7-figure prices at auctions. A man in his 60s from Michigan, let's call him Larry, was cleaning out his garage. He found a small wooden box from his childhood. Inside? A stack of old pennies. Most were common. But one stood out. It was shiny, it was untouched, and it was dated 1977. No mint mark. Curious, he took it to a local coin dealer. The man examined it under a scope, leaned back slowly, and looked Larry in the eye. That penny, after expert grading and a full evaluation, was sold at auction for nearly $1.5 million. One coin. One moment. One life changed forever. Let's break it down. First, condition. Coins that have never circulated, especially those in mint state condition, are incredibly rare. That means no scratches, no dents, no wear. Second, errors. Some of these rare 1977 pennies were struck on foreign planchets, basically, the wrong metal disc. Others had doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual edge errors, but here's the real kicker: only a few of these rare varieties have ever been found in the wild. That's what sends the value into the stratosphere. Rarity, and when collectors get competitive, when billionaires want to add the rarest penny to their private collections, the bidding gets intense. That's how we get to that $1.5 million price tag. Stay with me, because we're about to cover what to look for and what not to overlook. Grab a magnifying glass in your 1977 pennies. Here's what you want to examine at first: no mint mark under the year. That's normal for Philadelphia pennies of that time. But don't stop there, check the color and the luster. Does it look almost brand new? Bright red tone? That's a sign it hasn't been circulated. Now, the finer details, this is where the treasure hides. Look at Lincoln's eye and jaw. Are they doubled? That could indicate a doubled die error. If something looks just slightly off, don't ignore it. That might be your golden ticket. Let's say you've got a penny that looks promising. Don't just throw it on eBay and hope for the best, you need to have it graded by a professional coin grading service. That's what turns your coin from a curiosity into an investment. The most trusted grading services are PCGS and NGC. These companies evaluate your coin's authenticity, condition, and rarity. They seal it in a protective holder with a grade label. Coins graded MS65 or higher, especially with rare errors or unique metal content, are the ones breaking auction records. Around $30 to $100. But when you're dealing with a coin potentially worth over $1 million, it's the best investment you'll ever make. Right now, the coin market is red hot. Collectors, investors, even celebrities are jumping in. You've got hedge fund managers bidding six figures on nickels. Athletes buying rare dimes as part of their portfolio. Coins are no longer just for old school collectors, they're the new underground asset class. That's why your 1977 penny matters more than ever. Demand is high, supply is low, and the clock is ticking. Especially with the rise of digital auctions, rare coins can go viral overnight. 1 minute it's sitting in your junk drawer, the next minute it's on a live auction in New York, drawing international bids. Gather all your 1977 Lincoln pennies. Look for the ones in the best condition. Inspect them under bright light or with a magnifier. Look for clean surfaces, no mint mark, and any signs of doubling or striking errors. Compare with online images from trusted sources like PCGS. Contact a coin dealer or grading company. Ask for a preliminary opinion before sending it out. Once graded, consider your options. Keep it, sell it, auction it? That depends on your goals. But always get multiple offers. Your first one might not be the best. Let me leave you with this thought right now. Someone, maybe even you, is holding a 1977 penny that looks completely ordinary. It could be sitting in your glove box, inside a mason jar, taped to a scrapbook page, and while you're wondering what to have for lunch, that tiny copper coin could be quietly waiting to make you a millionaire. All it takes is the right eye, the right timing, and the right knowledge. So check your change. Look in those old jars. Open the drawer your dad hasn't touched in 20 years. You could be 1 penny away from everything changing. And if you want more stories like this, make sure you stick around. Because in the next video, we're uncovering another common coin, one you probably already spent, that's now worth over $2 million. Hey fellas, picture this. You're digging through an old jar of change, maybe one that's been sitting on your garage shelf since Clinton was in office. You're about to toss a penny aside when suddenly, wait a second. Something feels off. It's a 2001 Lincoln penny, but there's no mint mark. You shrug, toss it back in. But what if I told you that that very coin could be worth $1.6 million? That's right. One single 2001 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. 1 cent worth more than a Ferrari, a beach house, and a new life in sunny retirement. Stick with me, because this video is going to take you on a journey through coin history, errors, mint mysteries, collector demand, and exactly why some of these ordinary-looking pennies are anything but ordinary. By the end of this video, you'll know whether the pocket change you forgot about could actually be a jackpot hiding in plain sight. Let's dive in. The Lincoln cent has been with us since 1909. Over a century of history in your palm. Designed by Victor David Brenner, that iconic side profile of Lincoln was a big deal. It was the first time a real historical figure, not Lady Liberty, was put on a US coin. Fast forward to the 1950s and 60s, every American kid was tossing wheat pennies into jars, hoping one day they'd be worth something. Then came the Memorial Reverse in 1959. You know, the one Lincoln seated inside the little marble temple on the back. That design ran through 2008, and 2001 falls smack in the middle. And now here's the thing. 2001 wasn't supposed to be special, but oh, it turned out to be very special. Let's talk mint marks. Usually, pennies made in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. So at first glance, the 2001 no mint mark penny doesn't seem strange, but here's where it gets juicy. Some of these 2001 no mint mark pennies are different. Very different. The color is off. The weight is slightly lighter or heavier. The metal content isn't what you'd expect. The strike quality, sharper. And even though most 2001 pennies were minted in the billions, literally over 7 billion, somehow, just a few coins slipped through with mysterious traits that caught collectors' attention, and suddenly, that boring penny becomes the belle of the ball. And now you're probably wondering, how can you tell the difference? We're getting there. But first, let me tell you what makes one of these coins skyrocket in value. First, a rare error. We're talking wrong planchet, double die obverse, off-center strikes, or transitional metal content. Second, limited numbers. Scarcity is everything. Third, demand. And believe me, when coin collectors catch wind that only a handful of 2001 no mint mark pennies exist with a certain error or trait, they go absolutely wild. Auctions heat up. Bidding wars erupt. One such 2001 penny, pristine condition, full red luster, confirmed off-metal strike, no mint mark, just sold for $1.6 million. That's not a typo. 1 penny. Over $1 million. But here's the kicker, many more could be out there. In desk drawers, sock drawers, coin jars. Possibly even in your home right now. Now let's talk about Joe from Wisconsin. Retired truck driver, spent most of his days hauling freight across the Midwest. One day, sorting through his coin stash, he spots a strange-looking 2001 penny. Lighter in color. He shrugs, tosses it in a box, and forgets about it. 2 years later, his grandson shows the coin to a local coin dealer. Turns out it was struck on a leftover dime planchet, an error so rare, only a few are known to exist. That single coin changed Joe's retirement forever. He sold it at auction for just over $1.2 million. And then there's Sandra in New Mexico. Found a double-die 2001 penny while cleaning out her late husband's coin collection. She almost spent it at the gas station. Over $800,000. Real people. Real stories. Real money makes you want to grab a magnifying glass, doesn't it? Standard for Philadelphia, but not always ordinary. Check it anyway, should weigh 2.5 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, you might have a wrong planchet coin. Use a magnifier. Look at Lincoln's eye, the word liberty, the date. If there's a shadow like doubling, you're onto something. Slightly silver, golden, or dull brown. Could be a sign of a metal mix-up. Is the detail sharper than usual? Crisp lettering? It may have been struck with higher than normal pressure. If you suspect anything unusual, don't spend it. Get it appraised. Preferably by a PCGS or NGC certified expert, because that penny could be your early retirement. Now here's where things get really intriguing. Multiple numismatic insiders believe there are still over a dozen rare error 2001 no-mint mark pennies yet to be discovered. They've shown up sporadically: estate sales, flea markets, old army footlockers. So the chances? They're slim. But not 0.1 of those undiscovered coins is rumored to be even rarer than the $1 million one that's already been sold. Don't check yet. There's more you need to know. Common 2001 pennies? You'll find them anywhere. They're copper-plated zinc, they're worn down, they weigh 2.5 grams, and they're not shiny anymore, they pop. They have odd features. They don't match others when you put them side by side. Take a few 2001 pennies and line them up. Same light, same background. The rare ones often stand out. Slightly different tone. Slightly better detail. Something just looks off in a good way. Collectors say, trust your gut. If a coin feels special, it might be. If you find something that looks promising, don't just rush to eBay. Big mistake, you want to get it graded and authenticated. Go to PCGS or NGC. These are the two top grading companies in the US. They'll slab the coin, certify the grade, and you'll get a paper trail. After that, auction houses are your best bet. Heritage Auctions, Stacksbauers, Great Collections, these folks have sold coins for millions. They know how to market it, and they attract serious buyers. You don't want someone offering you a couple $100 for $1 million piece. Trust the process, protect your coin, and go through the right channels. I'll bet you're already thinking about the coffee can in the garage. The drawer in your workshop. That jar of pennies in your grandfather's attic, because somewhere out there, a 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is sitting quietly, waiting to be found. Maybe it's worth a cent. Maybe it's worth $1.6 million, and maybe, just maybe, it's already in your hands. So go check. And if you find something special, come back and tell us. This channel is where everyday guys become accidental millionaires. You may want to sit down for this one. Because that little brown penny you've been walking past on the sidewalk or tossing in a change jar might just be the key to a $1.7 million windfall. That's right. Today, we're diving into the incredible story behind the 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so valuable, it's turning everyday Americans into overnight millionaires. If you're a guy between 30 and 70 who's been collecting coins for years, or maybe just keeping loose change in an old coffee can in the garage, this video could change your life. So stay with me to the very end, because not only will we reveal what makes this coin worth $1.7 million, but I'll also show you how to spot the difference between an ordinary penny and one that can pay off your mortgage. And just wait until you hear what happened to the man who found one in a parking meter tray. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start where all great penny stories begin, with a little copper, a lot of history, and one quiet change in 1975 that nobody saw coming. For most folks, the penny is the most ignored coin in circulation. Worth a single cent, often dirty, sometimes bent, we barely give them a second glance. But here's the thing, the penny has always held secrets. From the very first Lincoln cent in 1909 to the steel versions made during World War II, each design tells a story about America, and sometimes, about rare mistakes that can make a single coin worth more than a Ferrari. Now fast forward to 1975. The US Mint was pumping out billions of pennies. Inflation was rising. Vietnam had just ended. The economy was shifting, and so was coin production. Most pennies were produced at either the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint, but here's where it gets interesting: pennies from Philadelphia are known for having no mint mark. It's their signature move, actually. But in 1975, a microscopic error, or perhaps an intentional limited run, created a batch of no mint mark Lincoln Memorial pennies that stand apart. We're not talking about just missing the mint mark. We're talking about a strange anomaly in weight, strike quality, and metal composition that turned this particular version into something extraordinary. A handful of these coins don't just lack a mint mark, they have unique surface textures, deeper bust imprints of Lincoln, and specific reverse design traits that only trained eyes or lucky hands will notice. The result? A 1975 no mint mark Lincoln penny that has been valued at over $1.7 million at recent auctions. Not because it's just old, but because it's a unicorn in a field of donkeys. And if you're wondering how rare it is, well, less than 10 known examples have ever been authenticated. The average 1975 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But this ultra-rare no mint mark version? Some show signs of double die errors. Others appear to have been struck with misaligned dies or struck on planchets intended for foreign coins. These were mistakes. Beautiful, profitable mistakes. Now imagine you have a drawer full of 1970s pocket change and one of these is hiding inside. It's not a dream, it's a reality for a few lucky collectors who stumbled upon these rare coins without even knowing what they had, but identifying one isn't as simple as checking the year and looking for a missing D or S. There are 3 key indicators that make this version stand out. And we'll get to those in just a minute, but first, let me tell you about the man from Kentucky who turned his curiosity into cash. Back in 2014, a retired mechanic named Joe, 63 years old, was emptying his pocket change into a coin counter at his local grocery store. Among the pile was a well-worn 1975 penny with no mint mark. Something about it felt different. Maybe it was the sharper detail on Lincoln's face. Maybe it was the odd tone of the copper. Instead of spending it, Joe tossed it into his glove box. 6 months later, after watching a YouTube video just like this one, he remembered the coin and took it to a certified numismatist. Authentication. And eventually, an auction sale that brought in $1.68 million. Now he lives comfortably on a 40-acre property, debt-free, and says he still checks his change every single day. Here's where you need to pay close attention. Look closely at the date and the word liberty. On rare examples, you'll see shadow-like doubling caused by a misalignment during the minting process. This is known as a double die obverse. Examine the Lincoln Memorial. On the rarest versions, the pillars are more pronounced, and the spacing between the steps is sharper due to a higher pressure strike. Planchet errors. Some 1975 pennies were mistakenly struck on foreign coin blanks, like Canadian cents, resulting in a slightly thinner or lighter penny. You'll need a scale for this. A normal 1975 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. Anything significantly lighter or heavier is a red flag, in a good way. If your coin checks off all 3 boxes, you may be holding a $1.7 million fortune in your fingers, but don't run off to the pawn shop just yet. First, place it in a soft coin holder, not a plastic bag, and definitely not your wallet. You don't want to damage the surface. Second, take it to a certified coin dealer or numismatist. Look for someone affiliated with the Professional Numismatists Guild or the American Numismatic Association. They'll guide you through authentication. Third, if it checks out, get it graded by PCGS or NGC, 2 of the most trusted third-party grading services. A certified coin with a high grade can sell for significantly more. And finally, contact an auction house, Heritage Auctions, Stacksbowers, or Great Collections. These platforms specialize in rare coins and will get your penny in front of the right eyes. Now, let's wrap this up with something you'll want to hear. The world of rare coins is full of surprises. And every so often, a penny that looks ordinary on the surface turns out to be a life-changer. The 1975 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those stories, and you could be the next one to write the ending. So don't underestimate the power of that little coin sitting in a jar on your shelf. Because that jar might just be your retirement plan waiting to be discovered. Subscribe if you want to learn more about valuable coins hiding in plain sight. And remember, the next time you hear that clang of a penny hit the ground, look twice, because the next millionaire could be you. You ever pull some loose change out of your pocket and wonder if there's treasure hiding in plain sight? You might want to take a second look at that old penny rattling around in your glove box or coin jar. Because if that penny happens to be a 2006 Lincoln Memorial penny, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And I'm not talking about a few $100, I'm talking about one specific 2006 penny that's valued at a whopping $1.8 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's real. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. We're going deep into the story behind this unassuming little coin, how it skyrocketed in value, and how you can figure out if the one you've got is just spare change or a jackpot. Stick around, because by the time we're done, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's set the scene. It's 2006. Gas is a little over $2 a gallon. Smartphones aren't glued to every hand just yet. And somewhere in Denver, the US Mint is pressing out millions of standard Lincoln Memorial pennies, the kind we see every day. And now here's the twist. Among these countless coins, a tiny number were struck with a unique combination of features, flaws, minting oddities, and perfect timing that would eventually make them rare and wildly valuable. We're talking about the Lincoln Memorial design with the D Mint mark, signifying it was made in Denver. That in itself isn't unusual. What's unusual is what happened during and after minting. You might be wondering, how does a 1-cent coin from the 2000s get anywhere near a 7-figure price tag? Well, it didn't happen overnight. It started with collectors noticing some oddities. First up, rarity. Although millions of 2006 pennies were made, only a few came off the line with minting errors so specific and clean that they caught the eyes of experts. One of those is known to exist in pristine, uncirculated condition, a coin that's virtually flawless under magnification. Second is condition. Coin grading matters a lot. A penny that looks good to the naked eye might only be worth face value, while a coin graded MS-70 by PCGS, which means mint state perfect, is a different story. The $1.8 million penny we're talking about? It's one of those few elite coins. Not mistakes like you and I make, but anomalies in the minting process. Some 2006 pennies were struck on improper planchets or showed doubling in the design. Others have ghost images, off-centers, or subtle die breaks. These flaws don't subtract value, they add it, big time. And finally, collector demand. The Lincoln cent is one of the most collected coins in US history. When a rare example like this surfaces, it doesn't sit still. Wealthy collectors, investors, and even museums want their hands on it. That drives the price into the stratosphere. So, what exactly happened to make this coin different from the rest? And more importantly, how can you tell if your 2006 penny might be the one? We'll get to that in just a moment. A few years back, a man in Oklahoma was helping his grandson roll coins for a school fundraiser. Just an everyday task. As they were going through a coffee can full of pennies, something about one of them made him pause. It was shinier. Crisper. Still had its luster after sitting around for years. He tossed it aside, planning to throw it into a coin flip and check it out later. That night, he opened up an old coin reference book, then followed it up with a few searches online. What he discovered? That penny matched every detail of the ultra-rare 2006 Memorial with die flaws and full red brilliance. He sent it off to be graded. A few weeks later, he got the call. Not only was it real, it was one of the best preserved examples ever seen. Before long, it was auctioned off to a private collector for $1.8 million. From a coffee can to a small fortune now, you may not have that exact coin, or maybe you do. Let's find out what to look for. But not too technical. Here's how you can spot a potentially valuable 2006 penny. First and foremost, make sure the coin has the D Mint mark just below the year. No D? No deal. It has to be from the Denver Mint. Look at Lincoln's hair, his coat, and the lettering. Is everything sharp and clear? That's a good sign. Wear and tear mean it's been circulated, likely not worth much unless other rare errors exist. Coins that retain their full red copper color are significantly more valuable. Brown or dull? Not so much. Where the date or letters look shadowed or doubled, where the image isn't perfectly centered, raised lines or cracks from a worn die struck on metal meant for another coin, like a dime. Any one of these, especially in a coin that's otherwise pristine, can send its value soaring. Many people throw these away, or worse, spend them without realizing what they have. First, don't clean it ever. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value instantly. And next, take clear, high-resolution photos of both sides. Then, send it to a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication and grade are what gives your coin legitimacy in the marketplace. Listed on a premium auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers. Contact coin dealers who specialize in Lincoln Cents. Attend a national coin show and shop it around. You don't have to be a seasoned collector to make this kind of money. You just have to pay attention, know what to look for, and take the right steps once you've got something promising in hand. Here's a little secret most people don't know: the penny that sold for $1.8 million? It wasn't the only one of its kind. Experts believe there could be as many as 3 or 4 more out there, still ungraded, still unclaimed, still hiding in change jars, old dresser drawers, or forgotten piggy banks. Think about that. Somewhere right now, there's another man, maybe just like you, walking around with a small fortune in his pocket and no idea. Maybe he picked it up from the gas station, or maybe it's been sitting in his kitchen junk drawer for a decade. So now you know. The 2006 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny isn't just pocket change. For the rarest few, it's the ultimate hidden treasure. With just the right mix of rarity, condition, and luck, one little copper coin can unlock a fortune most of us only dream about. So here's your next move: check your change. Go through those jars. Talk to your kids, your parents, your grandkids. This isn't a myth. It's real, it's possible, and it's out there. And if you do find something, let me know. Because the next penny millionaire just might be watching this video right now. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Imagine reaching into an old coffee tin, brushing aside some dusty pennies from the 90s, and suddenly spotting one with a little D under the year 1992. Now, what if I told you that tiny coin could make you $1.9 million richer? Hey there, fellas. Whether you're tuning in from your garage workshop, your comfy recliner, or maybe you're just sifting through an old drawer full of change, this video could change the way you look at every single penny in your home. Especially that one copper-colored coin from 1992. Because today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1992 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny, a coin that looks just like the rest but hides a multi-million-dollar secret. And by the time we're done, you might just be grabbing a magnifying glass and heading straight for your coin jar. And now, first things first. Let's set the stage. The year is 1992. Bill Clinton is running for president, grunge music is echoing through car stereos, and coin collectors aren't thinking twice about a regular old penny from Denver. But hidden in plain sight, a few of those pennies were minted with a flaw so rare and so subtle, even lifelong collectors missed it for years. And it wasn't until decades later that one lucky soul discovered what now sits at a staggering market value of $1.90 million. What makes it so special? That's where the story gets good. From 1959 to 2008, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design sat proudly on the back of the penny. And up front, good old Abraham Lincoln stared off into the distance, as calm and determined as ever. And now look closely. On most 1992 D pennies, you'll see bold, distinct lettering where the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" are well defined. But there's one word that really matters: America, more specifically, the spacing between America and United States. In a typical penny, there's a small gap between the words. But on this ultra-rare 1992 D, the spacing is tighter. So tight, it's called the close AM variety. It might sound minor, almost laughable, but here's the cliffhanger: that single mistake, a gap of mere fractions of a millimeter, is why this penny is now worth more than most people's homes. Let's rewind a bit. Because to truly understand why this close AM error matters, we have to peek behind the scenes at the US Mint. In 1992, 2 types of dies were being prepped, one for business strike coins and one for proof coins. Now, proof coins are the shiny, high-polish ones made for collectors, not for pocket change. What happened was someone at the mint accidentally used a proof die meant for collector coins on a batch of circulation pennies. These were the ones with the close AM design. And instead of being limited to collectors' hands, they were unleashed to the public, thrown into vending machines, wallets, gas station registers. Just think about that. A multi-million-dollar coin passed from hand to hand, maybe used to buy a soda or tossed into a tip jar. And it gets crazier. Only a handful of these 1992 D close AM pennies are known to exist. 1 surfaced in a random collection. Another was pulled out of circulation by sheer luck. The coin that fetched nearly $2 million? It was tucked away in a box, forgotten, until someone with a sharp eye spotted the narrow spacing and realized what they had. And I'll tell you right now, more could still be out there, maybe in your house. Maybe in your glove compartment. Maybe sitting in your childhood piggy bank. Let's take a closer look at how to spot one for yourself. Alright, gents, here's where things get hands-on. If you've got a 1992 penny nearby, grab it now. If not, make a mental note, because this is the part that could make you rich. You flip it to the back. Look at the words United States of America. On the regular penny, there's a visible gap between the A and the M in America. That's called the wide AM, but on the rare version, the one worth more than a Ferrari, those two letters are practically touching. That's your close AM, and if that D mint mark is stamped under the year on the front, boom, you might be holding a 7-figure prize, but don't rush off just yet. There's more you need to know before cashing in. The 1992 close AM penny that hit $1.9 million wasn't just rare, it was in near-perfect condition. That means no scratches, strong luster, and all the details sharp and clear. But here's the kicker, even if yours isn't in perfect shape, it could still fetch tens or hundreds of thousands. The worst thing you can do is ignore it or toss it in with the rest of your change, and there's a twist coming up, because not everyone who finds a 1992 close AM actually knows what to do next. Say you find one. Heart's racing. Your hands are trembling. You know you've got something that could change your life. Do not scrub, polish, or wipe it. A clean coin is a ruined coin in the eyes of collectors. You'll want to send it to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll assess the condition, verify it's legit, and seal it in a tamper-proof case. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers are known to handle rare coins like this. And with demand rising for rare US coinage, million-dollar payouts are no longer fairy tales. What if your 1992 close AM isn't worth the full $1.9 million? What if it's got a ding or scratch that knocks it down to, say, $150,000? These are the kinds of decisions collectors wrestle with. And believe it or not, many folks have walked away from massive deals because they believed their penny had more potential. And now let's dig into the psychology behind this and how you can make the smartest call. One man in Ohio found a close AM penny during his lunch break. He kept it in a velvet pouch for months before deciding to sell. The winning bid? $813,000. Another collector sat on his coin for nearly a decade. When he finally sold, he walked away with $1.6 million and used it to buy a beach house in Florida. These aren't just coins anymore. They're legacy builders, and if you're sitting there thinking, I've got buckets of old change at home, then it's time to check. Because the next story could be yours. But before we close, there's one last twist you need to hear. The US Mint is still discovering minting errors from decades ago, and some experts believe there could be fewer than 10 of the 1992 close AM pennies in existence. That means with each one found, the value of the next one goes up. We're talking the kind of investment you can retire on. The kind that turns a lucky afternoon into a life-changing moment. So don't just listen to this and move on. Check those coin jars, dig through your old drawers. Call up your uncle who's been hoarding pennies since the 70s, because that one unassuming copper coin might just be your ticket to a life you never thought possible. You've been watching the tale of the legendary 1992 close AM Lincoln penny, a story of mystery, money, and minting mishaps that led to million-dollar treasures. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment if you've got a rare coin story of your own. And remember, next time you're handed a penny and change, don't underestimate it. Where coins meet cash and old change could mean new wealth. Today we're diving into something truly surprising, the humble 2013 Lincoln penny, the one you might just have sitting in a jar, in your glove box, or under your couch cushions, could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. That's right. 1 penny. No mint mark. Just plain old copper-plated zinc. And it's making headlines in the coin collecting world for all the right reasons. Before you roll your eyes or reach for another coffee, let me just say this isn't just about luck or wild guessing. There's a fascinating story behind this rare penny's value, and by the end of this video, you'll not only know what makes it worth a fortune but how to check your own pennies for the same traits. So grab your coin jars, maybe even a magnifying glass, and stick around. You're going to want to hear every detail. Especially what we reveal at the end, it might just make your day. Let's start with the basics. In 2013, the US Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents. They were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, But here's where it gets interesting: the Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark. Pennies made in Philly often skip the mint mark. But in the sea of 2013 pennies, a few coins were struck with an odd combination of features that have left collectors stunned. What's one of the biggest red flags? A flawless, sharp strike on both sides, clean lettering, and in some cases, an error so rare it only appears in a handful of coins. Millions of coins roll out every day, but once in a while, just once, something slips through that shouldn't. And in 2013, one of those slip-ups made a penny worth more than most homes. Let's pause right there. I know what you're thinking: how does a 1-cent coin make that kind of leap? Well, it starts with what collectors call die varieties and error types. But don't worry, I'll break it all down for you. The $1 million 2013 penny isn't just about age. It's not even about metal content. It's about rarity, condition, and unintentional design errors that were never supposed to leave the mint. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny with what experts describe as a double die obverse. That means Lincoln's portrait, the words "In God We Trust," and even the word liberty may appear slightly doubled under close inspection. It's subtle, but powerful. Another detail collectors are chasing is a reverse die clash. That's when part of Lincoln's profile gets ghosted into the backside of the coin. It's spooky, and worth big bucks. Now here's where things start to heat up. Coin experts have certified a tiny handful of these flawed 2013 pennies in mint state, meaning they are nearly perfect despite being circulated. One such coin fetched close to $1 million at auction. Not a prototype, not a test strike, but a regular penny, with just the right combination of errors, clarity, and preserved quality. And here's the twist: these coins weren't discovered in fancy dealer vaults. They were pulled from pocket change, garage sales, even roadside diners. Let that sink in while we shift gears. It's a quiet Sunday morning, you're sipping your coffee, flipping through old coins out of boredom. You spot a 2013 Lincoln penny, think nothing of it, but then you notice something off. A little shimmer where it shouldn't be. A strange outline behind Lincoln's jacket. Could it be? That's the exact moment collectors dream about. Start by checking every 2013 penny you have, especially ones with no mint mark. You'll want to use a magnifier or coin loop and pay close attention to Lincoln's face and jacket for doubling or extra lines, the letters "in Liberty" and "In God We Trust," the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, looking for shadows or clash marks, unusual spacing or thickness in the numbers 2013. If you spot anything strange, don't dismiss it. These traits are the goldmine, and here's a cliffhanger for you. There's one 2013 penny out there, still not discovered, that experts believe was struck using a retired die from 2009, with faint remains of the bicentennial design. It's the ghost of Lincoln past, hidden in plain sight. Let's talk about the money. Because at the end of the day, you want to know, who's paying $1 million for a penny? Well, it's not just eccentric collectors. Wealthy investors are buying rare coins as tangible assets, like gold, but more portable. Some hedge funds even buy high-value coins as long-term stores of value. Think of it like buying artwork, except you could find this artwork in your change. Auction houses like Heritage and Stacksbowers regularly handle these rare coin sales. And once a coin is certified by NGC or PCGS, its value skyrockets. One retired machinist in Ohio found a rare 2013 penny and nearly threw it away. It later sold at auction for over $987,000 after grading. Life-changing money for a coin he'd almost dropped in a vending machine. Now, imagine how many more might be out there, just waiting for someone with a good eye and a little patience. Don't clean it. Ever. Leave it just as it is. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value in seconds. Take clear photos in good lighting. Front and back. Zoom in on any error you see. Then visit the websites of NGC or PCGS, the top two grading services. For a small fee, you can submit your coin for authentication. If they confirm it's the real deal, you'll receive a sealed certificate, known as a slabbed grade. From there, it's auction time, and remember, even if your coin isn't worth $1 million, it could still fetch hundreds or thousands based on condition alone. A perfectly preserved penny with even a minor error can be worth more than you think. Some experts believe the most valuable 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny hasn't even been found yet. One theory says that only 12 of these ultra-rare misstrikes were ever produced, and fewer than half have been located. This is your moment. Go check those jars. Dig through those drawers. Take a second look at that coin you almost tossed in a tip jar. You might just be holding $1 million piece of American history. If this video inspired you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe because we've got more coin stories coming your way. And next time, we'll be talking about a nickel that's worth more than a Corvette. Stay sharp, stay curious, and never underestimate what's in your pocket. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, 1 cent, could be worth more than a beachfront house or a luxury sports car? You heard that right. One tiny, coppery Lincoln penny minted in 1970 with a little d under the year has been making headlines. Why? Because it's been valued at a jaw-dropping $1.1 million in today's coin market. Now, before you check your piggy bank or dive into that old jar in the garage, hang tight. This is not just about luck. There are specific details, hidden markers, and minting mysteries that turn an everyday penny into a millionaire's secret. And by the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to identify it, and how to make sure you're not sitting on a goldmine without knowing it. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's unravel the story of the 1970 D Lincoln Memorial Penny. The $1 million cent hiding in plain sight. Let's roll the clock back to 1970. America was deep in change. Vietnam protests, Apollo 13's near disaster, the Beatles had broken up, and Richard Nixon was in office. Meanwhile, at the Denver Mint, a quiet revolution was taking place. In copper, the 1970 D Lincoln penny was part of the Memorial Series, featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. At first glance, nothing seemed extraordinary about it. Billions were minted. But here's where the story begins to twist. Among these billions, a handful came out different, flawed, special. Minting errors, variations in die, and striking quirks created a coin that collectors today would pay a fortune to get their hands on. And I mean a serious fortune. But what could possibly make a common coin become rare overnight? Now here's where it gets exciting. The key to the 1970 D penny's value lies in what collectors call a double die obverse or DDO. On certain rare 1970 D pennies, the inscriptions on the front, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the date itself appear slightly doubled. Not by accident, but due to a mistake during the minting process. The dies used to stamp the coins were misaligned, producing a ghost-like doubling effect. This was no ordinary doubling. It's crisp, noticeable, and, to the trained eye, unmistakable. And when a collector finds a 1970 D penny with this kind of error, the price tag can explode. Some 1970 D pennies with these errors were also struck on the wrong metal planchets, or came out with additional die varieties and even off-center strikes. One in particular, authenticated by a leading grading service, sold for well over $1 million at auction, and that leads to a simple but thrilling question. Now, let's get practical. Here's how to spot the golden needle in the haystack of pennies. Start by flipping through your 1970 D pennies. Look for the small d mint mark under the date. That's the first step. Next, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Examine the letters closely. If "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" seems to have a slight shadow, a doubling effect, or a second outline, your heart should start beating faster. Also check the date. On rare 1970 D double die coins, the numbers will look as if they've been stamped twice. The doubling should be clean, not blurry. Another sign? Coins struck with strong relief and clean, sharp details indicating that they came from a fresh die and were not part of the worn-down batches that usually show up in circulation. And here's a kicker. Some error coins were actually struck on 1969 proof blanks, which creates a strange, higher quality appearance, making them all the more desirable to collectors. Don't worry, we're going to break it down further. You might be wondering, why would someone pay over $1 million for a penny? Well, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. For some, it's a high-stakes investment game, driven by rarity, condition, history, and desirability. The 1970 D double die penny checks all those boxes. It's rare. Only a handful are confirmed to exist. It's got a fascinating backstory, a minting error during a politically and socially charged era of American history, and it's desirable. Not just because of what it is, but because of what it represents, the dream that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a piece of history worth millions. Just think about it. An old drawer, a forgotten coffee can, or an inherited jar from a grandparent might hold the ticket to financial freedom. But we're not done yet. Let's talk about what condition does to the value. Point 2. Identical coins. Same year. Same mint mark. Same error. Grading agencies like PCGS or NGC rate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 60 and above is considered mint state. The highest grades MS66, MS67, and up command the top dollar. A 1970D penny with the rare double die error, graded MS67 red? That's the unicorn. The color matters too. A coin graded red means it's retained its original coppery brilliance since the day it was minted. Red, brown, or brown grades are good, but not $1,000,000 good. So if your penny has the right error and shines like a new coin under light, it could very well be the real deal. The only thing standing between you and your coin's fortune is professional authentication. And here's where things get serious: you need to get it graded by a professional. This isn't a job for your local pawn shop. Send it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine your coin, verify its authenticity, grade it, and seal it in a protective case. That grade will define your coin's market value, and collectors rely on it when buying or bidding. Think of it like getting a classic car appraised. Without the official paperwork, it's just a rusty old Mustang. With the paperwork, it could be worth six figures. Auctions, private collectors, even museums could come calling. Somewhere in America, in someone's house, tucked in a drawer, inside a dusty cup holder, lies another 1970D double die penny. Waiting.it could be in your possession right now. That penny, overlooked by millions for decades, has turned ordinary people into millionaires overnight. And it's still out there. So the next time you hold a penny in your hand, especially a 1970D, don't dismiss it. Examine it. Study it. You just might be holding a piece of American history, and your ticket to a life-changing fortune. Don't forget to check every penny, because sometimes, it only takes 1 cent to change your life forever. Hey there, gentlemen, now let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you looked closely at a penny? Not just tossed it in your pocket, not just shoved it in a coin jar, but really looked at it, because if you've got a 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial penny sitting around, you might be holding onto a life-changing coin. Not just worth a few dollars or even a few thousand. This particular one has shaken the coin world by storm, landing a staggering market value of $1.2 million. Yes. 1 penny. 1 small, copper coin. A piece of spare change that could mean financial freedom. Today, we're going deep into the mystery, the history, and the money behind the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. But before we get to the why, let's rewind the clock, back to where this journey started. 1909. Abraham Lincoln becomes the first actual person featured on a U.S. coin. It was a big deal. The coin marked Lincoln's 100th birthday and a shift in how America wanted to honor its heroes. Fast forward to 1959, the Lincoln Memorial design enters circulation, replacing the wheat ears on the reverse. This design stuck around for decades, and then came 1971. A year of big change, disco fever, muscle cars, and one little penny that ended up turning heads 5 decades later. But this wasn't just any penny. It was a no-mint Mark 1971 Memorial Lincoln cent, an ordinary coin on the outside, but an incredibly rare gem to the trained eye. And now, you're probably asking, what makes this tiny copper coin worth over $1 million? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. You're holding a 1971 penny. You flip it over. Lincoln is sitting tall in the memorial. It looks normal, right? But now, the real detective work begins. First, check the front. Look right under the year, 1971. If there's no mint mark below it, meaning it doesn't have a small D or S, then congratulations, you've cleared level 1. But hold on. Don't go booking your trip to Hawaii just yet, because not all no mint mark 1971 pennies are valuable. In fact, most are worth just 1 cent. So what makes some of them worth a fortune? That's where the magic comes in. You've got to look at the metal composition, the strike quality, and the error characteristics, and this is where the $1 million mystery unfolds. Let's crack it open. In 1971, the US Mint was striking pennies in mostly copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, to be precise. That's important, but here's what happened. Some of these no-mint mark coins were struck on leftover planchets, the round metal blanks used for other coins. These planchets weren't supposed to be used for regular pennies. Some were thinner. Some had silver traces. Some were slightly off in weight. And some had double dies. And that's the secret. The most valuable 1971 no-mint mark penny ever discovered had a perfect storm. No-mint mark struck on an experimental or off-metal planchet double die obverse, meaning Lincoln's face, and especially the date and the word liberty, had a ghosted second image slightly off the first. This double die error is what collectors dream about. It's rare. It's dramatic. And it's incredibly hard to fake. A man in Ohio, let's call him Joe, was sorting through an old drawer of coins passed down from his father. Nothing fancy. Just a bunch of change stored in an old tobacco tin, and there it was. A reddish penny that looked a little odd. A bit more shine. A little thicker around the edges. Something told him to hold on to it. Months later, he took it to a local coin show. The guy at the booth took one look and said, "You need to send this to PCGS." Immediately, that coin came back graded MS67RD with a confirmed double die obverse, $1.2 million at auction. That one coin changed Joe's life, and here's the kicker: he almost gave it to his grandson for his piggy bank. The Philadelphia Mint was notorious back then for skipping the mint mark on some coins. 1971 was no exception, but there's more. The mint was transitioning equipment, which led to a batch of pennies being struck incorrectly. A few of those pennies escaped. They weren't supposed to. But some made it into the wild. That experts believe fewer than 10 examples of this specific error exist. Most are in collections. A few are still out there, undiscovered. Sitting in a drawer. A coffee can. A glove box, maybe even your pocket right now. Now that you're probably ready to tear through your change jar, hold on. Let me guide you through it so you don't miss out. Look for doubling in the letters, especially Liberty, and the date. Weigh it. Standard pennies should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, that's a red flag in a good way. Get it graded professionally. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Just place it in a soft cloth and get in touch with PCGS or NGC. And remember, this isn't just about money. This is about legacy. Why are these coins skyrocketing in price? Because demand is high. Supply is disappearing. And baby boomers are passing down old collections faster than ever. The coin market is going through a golden era. Investors, collectors, and dealers are all chasing that 1 in a million coin. And the 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is one of the rarest of the rare. Experts say the next perfect condition specimen could fetch over $2 million within the next 5 years. Are you going to be the guy who sells his for life-changing money, or the guy who accidentally spends it on coffee? 10 years ago, I didn't think much of coins. To me, they were just dead weight in my pockets. Then one day, my uncle handed me a tiny box of old coins. Just something to look over before throwing out. Inside was a 1969 penny with doubling on the date. I got it authenticated. It wasn't $1 million coin, but it was worth $20,000. That moment changed everything. Now, I look at coins differently, and so should you. You might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it, and this 1971 penny, it's just the beginning. You've learned the history. You know the signs. You've heard the $1 million story. And you now have the tools to check your own change and potentially unlock a fortune. The 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of luck, of legacy, of hidden wealth hiding in plain sight. Don't throw your pennies in the jar, look closer. Check your drawers. Go through your old coffee cans, because that small copper coin could be your ticket to something big. Come back and tell us, because one of you watching right now might just be holding the next $1 million coin. Make sure to like and subscribe. I've got more rare coin stories on the way, and trust me, they're only getting crazier from here. Where pocket change could change your life. Today, we're diving into a very specific and wildly surprising coin, the 1976 Memorial Lincoln penny. Now, at first glance, it looks like any other penny you might find in your junk drawer, stuck between couch cushions, or rattling in an old piggy bank. But here's the kicker: one of these ordinary-looking copper coins has fetched a jaw-dropping $1.3 million on the market. That's right. $1.3 million. And no, this isn't a myth, a rumor, or a tall tale passed around coin clubs. This is real. One rare variation of the 1976 Lincoln cent could transform your financial future overnight. Before you shrug off your loose change as worthless, stick around. Because in the next 30 minutes, we're going to uncover exactly what makes this penny so special, how to identify if you have one, and the jaw-dropping story behind its $1 million value. Plus, I'll share the mistakes collectors make that cost them thousands, even millions, and the secret traits that separate a regular penny from a life-changing one. So grab your coffee, sit back, and prepare for a deep dive into a coin that might just be the hidden treasure sitting right in your home. Let's start with the basics, the 1976 D Lincoln Memorial Penny. It was minted in Denver, as marked by the small d mint mark under the date. Now, 1976 was a big year for America, the bicentennial. While quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins got flashy redesigns to celebrate 200 years of independence, the penny kept its classic look: Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but it's that simplicity that makes this coin so easy to overlook. Millions of them were produced. Billions of pennies have passed through our hands since then. So why is this one worth a fortune? Here's where it gets fascinating. Not every 1976 D penny is valuable, far from it. But one very rare error, one unique combination of metal and strike, created a penny so rare it became the holy grail for collectors. It wasn't even discovered in a bank vault or auction house. It was found by an everyday American, just like you going through a small pile of coins on the kitchen table. So how can you tell if you have the rare one? Keep watching, because what you're about to learn could literally put six figures in your bank account. Most people glance at a penny and toss it aside. But serious collectors know the devil is in the details. The rare 1976 D penny that sold for $1.3 million had several things going for it. First, the metal composition. Most 1976 D pennies were made of copper-plated zinc or bronze. But the rare ones? They were accidentally struck on experimental planchets, coin blanks, made from different compositions. One of the $1 million versions was struck on a silver planchet. That's right, a penny struck in silver, possibly intended for another denomination. Second, the die error. This refers to a mistake made when the coin was struck, like a double die, off-center strike, or weak lettering. The valuable version of this penny often shows a sharply doubled image on the date or the lettering, especially the word liberty or the motto "In God We Trust." The mint condition. The $1 million penny was never used in circulation. No scratches, no discoloration, no dents. Just pristine, untouched brilliance. Graded at MS67, read by professional grading services, the highest you can hope for in a coin of this at GE.SO. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that's great, but how do I know if mine is one of them? Don't worry, we're getting to that. But before we dive into identification tips, let's take a short detour, because the history behind this coin's creation reveals why these errors even happened in the first place, and trust me, it's more scandalous than you might think. In 1976, the US Mint was under immense pressure. Between the bicentennial redesigns, rising inflation, and debates over switching metals to save costs, the mints were operating at full throttle. Especially the Denver Mint, which produced billions of coins that year. With all this hustle came mistakes. Some planchets were mixed up. Some dies were misaligned. And occasionally, a coin would be struck under incorrect conditions, unnoticed by quality control. That was likely an accident caused by switching between coin types during production. Imagine a planchet meant for a silver dime or a foreign coin slipping into the penny press. Just one tiny mix-up, and you have a coin that doesn't belong. That's the golden ticket right there, but here's the wild part. The mint workers didn't notice. The quality inspectors missed it. That penny slipped into a bag with thousands of others, shipped out across the country, and quietly landed in someone's change. For years, it sat unnoticed. Maybe it passed through hundreds of hands, or maybe it was tossed in a drawer and forgotten. Until one day, someone looked just a little closer. Think about that. A penny worth over $1 million, living undercover for decades. Let's talk about real people who struck gold with their change. A man in Ohio found a rare 1976 D error penny while coin roll hunting, just $25 in loose change from the bank, and there it was. Another collector in Kansas spotted a double die version of the 1976 D in a flea market for 5 cents. He flipped it later for over $200,000. These stories aren't unicorns. They're proof. The rare coins are out there. Hiding in collections, hiding in jars, hiding under car seats, and right after this, we're going to give you the checklist you need to follow to check your 1976 D pennies and potentially find the $1 million one. But first, let's talk about the trap most people fall into and how it's costing them big time. Some people have owned one of these rare pennies and lost it. They spent it. Or worse, they sold it to a pawn shop or a garage sale dealer for $10, because they didn't know what they had. Others damaged their coins by cleaning them, thinking a shiny penny is a valuable penny. But cleaning coins destroys their value. Even a rare 1976 penny becomes nearly worthless if it's scratched, polished, or altered. Get it appraised professionally. PCGS or NGC are the gold standards for grading. Without that certification, you're just guessing, and dealers will take advantage. Never rush. Take your time to compare. Look at photos of known million-dollar coins. Study their features. Measure the weight. Use a magnifying glass. It could mean the difference between 1 cent and $1.3 million. A normal 1976 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. The rare silver or off-metal ones will be lighter or heavier. Use a precise scale. Look closely at the lettering. Any doubling in Liberty or in God We Trust? That's a strong clue. Look at the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Any off-center strikes? Missing details? Look for unusual surfaces or edges. If the coin looks clean, even, and has 0 scratches, it might grade high. But don't clean it. Just preserve it in a coin flip holder. If it's not 3.11 grams, take it seriously. That's a red flag of a different metal. Take clear photos and send them to a certified grading service. It might cost a little, but if the value is real, the payoff is massive. And here's the kicker: even pennies with partial errors have sold for $10,000, $50,000, even $100,000. So you don't need the absolute perfect coin to win big. You just need the right traits. We started today with a simple question: what if one penny could make you a millionaire? It's not just possible, it's already happened. And the 1976 Lincoln Memorial penny is living proof. So the next time you find an old penny, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a second look. Use what you've learned today. Because your future, your house, your retirement, your dream vacation could be sitting right in your change. It's not just about money. It's about what that money can do. And if you're holding one of these rare coins, your story could be next. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might be sitting on a small fortune. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the world of rare coins, the next millionaire might be you.